Today, we're jumping into a story that is, no joke, one of the most pivotal moments you'll find. It's about two men from two completely different worlds who are set on a collision course. In this one meeting, it would change absolutely everything. So, on one side of the ring, you've got Cornelius. He's a Roman centurion, a respected commander in the army that's occupying the land. And on the other side, we have Peter, a key leader of this small Jewish sect that followed Jesus. In their world, these two guys were separated by law, by culture, by religion. I mean, they should never have even spoken to each other. So the big question is, what on earth could possibly bring them together?
To really get how revolutionary this whole thing was, we've got to first understand the men themselves and the completely separate worlds they came from. Okay, so first up is Cornelius. Now, he was not your typical Roman soldier. Yeah, he was a centurion in Caesarea, a man with real authority. But here's the twist. He was also described as devout and God-fearing. He was known for praying all the time and being incredibly generous to the local Jewish people. So you have this Gentile, this outsider, who was clearly seeking something more. Then you go about 30 miles down the coast to the old port city of Joppa, and that's where we find Peter. Peter is, a central figure in this early Jesus movement, a fisherman who became an apostle. He is a deeply devout Jew living his life by a super strict set of religious and cultural laws that made it very, very clear who was clean and who was not.
And this, right here, is where the story gets really weird and, well, supernatural. We've got two different men in two different cities about to have two totally different but somehow connected visions.
The stage is pretty much set. At almost the exact same time, both Cornelius and Peter have an experience that is going to completely rock their understanding of the world. And let me tell you, this was no coincidence. This was a coordinated event.
For Cornelius, the message he gets is shockingly direct. An angel just appears and tells him, "Hey, God sees you." And then he gets a clear instruction. Send your guys to Joppa and bring back a man named Simon Peter. Cornelius has no idea who this guy is or why he's supposed to send for him, but he doesn't hesitate. He just does it.
Peter's vision, on the other hand, is just bizarre. He sees this huge sheet come down from heaven, and it's filled with all the animals his faith had forbidden him to eat for centuries. Then a voice tells him to kill and eat. I mean, this goes against his entire identity. So his reaction is instant and from the gut. Surely not, Lord.
And this wasn't just a quick flash. This whole scene, the sheet, the animals, the command, and Peter's refusal, it all happened 3 separate times. Now, in that kind of storytelling, when something happens 3 times, it's like the universe is screaming at you, "Pay attention, Peter. Something big is about to change." And with that third repetition, he gets this cryptic message. This statement just leaves Peter completely baffled. He thought he knew exactly what was clean and what was unclean, and now he's being told that the very rules he's built his life on might have just been rewritten by God himself. But what could it possibly mean?
So with these baffling instructions, both men are set in motion. Cornelius's men are hitting the road to Joppa, and Peter is about to be pushed way, way outside his comfort zone and straight into a culturally forbidden meeting.
Now, to really get what happens next, we have to pause and understand just how insane this journey was. Why was a simple visit between a Jew and a Gentile such a shocking, rule-breaking deal?
See, the separation wasn't just a suggestion. It was law. For a devout Jew like Peter, even hanging out with a Gentile was forbidden. To walk into a Gentile's house, that would make him ritually unclean. And sharing a meal? Absolutely not. This was a massive wall, built over centuries, that defined who was in and who was out.
So as Cornelius's men are on their way, the two paths start to merge. Right as they get to Joppa, Peter, who is still scratching his head about that vision, is told by the Spirit to go with these men and not to hesitate. And then Peter does something small, but totally shocking. He invites these Gentile men into his home as guests. That right there, that was the first crack in the wall. So Peter travels to the home of a Roman centurion, something that would have been unthinkable just a few days ago, and he is about to have his aha moment. When Peter walks into Cornelius's house, it's not just Cornelius there. The place is packed with all of his relatives and close friends. And in that one moment, seeing all these non-Jewish people just eagerly waiting for him, all the pieces finally click into place. He gets it.
The vision wasn't about forbidden food. It was about forbidden people.
So Peter starts talking, and his words signal this massive earthquake in his worldview. He basically says, I get it now. God doesn't play favorites. Acceptance isn't about your nationality or where you come from. The old rules of who's in and who's out were being wiped away for a new reality of inclusion.
But just as Peter is explaining this brand new understanding, something completely unexpected happens that gives everyone undeniable, dramatic proof. And it astonishes Peter and the other Jewish guys with him.
While Peter is still talking, the Holy Spirit falls on every single Gentile in that room. They start praising God, speaking in tongues, the exact same thing that had happened to the Jewish believers. For the guys who came with Peter, this was mind-blowing. The proof was right there in front of them, totally irrefutable. God had just welcomed these outsiders in on the exact same terms.
This incredible moment of confirmation leads us right to the story's conclusion, and it sets a completely new course for the future of this entire faith.
Peter's transformation is now totally complete. He turns to his stunned friends and asks them this rhetorical question. It's like he's saying, look, if God has already given them his Spirit, who are we to stand in the way of baptism? The man who, a few days ago, refused to even be in the same room with Gentiles is now their biggest advocate.
And with that, the wall comes crashing down. Peter orders them to be baptized, officially bringing them into the community. This one event, in this one house in Caesarea, throws the doors wide open. It transforms a faith that was once for just one ethnic group into a global movement.
So, this whole story of Cornelius and Peter leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about. Both of them were forced to face a reality that completely contradicted their deepest held beliefs. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What happens in our own lives when a new experience or a new truth shatters the oldest rules we live by?